All right, so welcome to the how to earn $100 to $500 a day by taking your social media to the next level. I'm gonna go through and show you guys. I'm gonna first of all justify how I've made this claim. Okay, I'm gonna do that on the webinar just to get rid of any naysayers on the possibilities of this. So we're gonna do that on the webinar. And I'm also going to give a few tips on how to get some new clients, how to manage your clients, and also a few little secrets on little productivity time savers for anyone who's doing any social media campaigns. I want to make sure that everyone got the message that this webinar probably won't be so useful if you are a business owner and you're looking for some new techniques or some new strategies to implement on your own social media, on your own business's social media campaigns. This webinar is going to be focused on you're a marketer or you're a social media consultant and you want to go out and get more clients and manage them more effectively and be more productive with your time so you can scale your business, your social media business. Right? So if you are a small business looking for some tips on social media and that sort of thing, there's not a whole lot of that in here. There is a little bit, but there's not a whole lot of that in here. So just a fair warning, just so that way we're not taking up anybody's time that doesn't need to be here. So just want to get that out of the way. All right, great. So as we go along here, you could leave questions in the questions box. I will periodically check the questions box and then come back and answer it. Make sure that you leave context to your questions, just because it might be a couple minutes before I actually see it, so I might not know what you're pertaining to if you're referencing something I just said. I hope that makes sense, just so that just that way I can make sense of your questions more easily. All right. So this is what's on the agenda today. We're going to talk about why social media services are in high demand. I'm going to give you a little bit of research that I've recently come by that kind of shows how lots of businesses are looking for people to manage their social media. If you are a social media consultant and you've been doing this for quite a while, you're probably already aware of the fact that businesses are quite desperate to find somebody to manage their social media, but they want someone who's going to really provide them some real results. And it's often, I find it's easy to, get a client, or I see people who can get clients, but it's about keeping that client for a long time. The only way you're going to do that is by providing real value to them. And so we're going to talk a bit about that. Okay. Then we're going to talk about how to position yourself as an expert so that way you can charge more for your services. And the huge advantage to this is actually about charging more and then actually doing less. And I know that sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but it's absolutely true. And I'm going to tell you about that. Then we're going to get into branding versus direct response marketing. And I really want to talk about this and dive into this a little bit because I think it's really important to be able to identify your marketing efforts so that way you know if you're working on getting exposure or if you're working on generating real leads. And the reason I bring this up and I think it's so important is because a lot of people get their lessons and their trainings on social media from the gurus and people who do like keynote talks at big conferences. Those people target corporate clients. They're looking to get big companies, like Ford or Coca-Cola, that kind of thing, to do social media for them. And those companies don't use direct response marketing. They get more into branding. They want more exposure, right? So their techniques that they're teaching are very brand related, brand focused. And usually when we're working with small to mid-sized businesses, we want to get more into the direct response marketing. So we're going to kind of dive into kind of the difference between the two and how to identify each one so that way your campaigns are a bit more strategic. And then we're going to get into pricing your services. And that's when I'm going to get in there and I'm going to really justify this $100 to $500 a day. It's completely possible. It's totally possible. And you could do even more than that. And then we're going to get into when you get your first client, how do you work with that client? What questions do you ask them? How do you follow up with them? How are you going to keep that client over the long term? And I think this is really important because a lot of times, you can get a lead and then you go and meet with them and the sale never really gets closed because you didn't ask the right questions. You didn't get them engaged in your services. And then I'm going to show you some magic tricks. I'm going to show you some stuff that I had clients, they would often, I've heard this many times where, you do something with technology and the internet and you're doing some marketing and then, they tell you that you're magical or that you're a magician. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff and they're kind of funny little tricks or tweaks that we could do with our social media. It makes it much more productive, be able to get way more done and get way more results. And I say you can get up to 10 times more engagement. That's no exaggeration. You get much more than that, way more. You can get 100 times more engagement. I mean, if their page has no engagement, right? So it's really important. You do the stuff, but it does take some time to initially set up, get used to how it works. But I think anyone who wants to manage social media, these are the things that you need to be doing. I don't think it's optional. I do it for everybody. It's not an option. You need to get that engagement, and you, as a business owner that's managing social media for companies, you need to find more ways to be more productive, so you can get more clients and scale your business. So that way you can be making a lot more than you're doing now, and a lot more than what you need to fulfill your lifestyle. I think that's really what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, we're gonna dive right into this. Just gonna check out some of your questions here. Actually, just gonna. Great. Okay, let's get into it. All right. So first of all, why is social media in such high demand right now? This is social media services being in high demand, right? So there's currently over 30 million businesses that are within U.S. and Canada right now. These are small businesses, okay? And so if you take a look at what's happening with small businesses and how they're marketing their business right now, I still see companies that are doing Yellow Pages ads. I can't even believe that. But I met companies recently that did Yellow Pages stuff. So there's not really, for traditional stuff that businesses have been used to doing. These are businesses who have been in business for 10 years or more, right? They were used to doing all this traditional stuff, and all of a sudden now we have new small businesses coming into play, which have been around for like a year or two, and they're just killing it, right? Because they're using all this new online media. But all these traditional businesses that have been around for I'm suggesting about 10 or more years, they're the ones who are really struggling right now. Reasons are is that TV commercials, which a lot of them may have used, local TV commercials, that sort of thing, not as effective anymore, right? Because now a lot of people are just PVRing, they're just fast forwarding through they're fast forwarding through the commercials. Most people, you see them watching TV with an iPhone or a laptop or maybe an iPad, on their laps, and they're not even paying attention to what's going on in the commercials. Commercials may be so effective. You can make a really funny, effective commercial. But I mean, the bottom line, really, if you're going to make a commercial nowadays, you can put that stuff on YouTube. And I mean, if it's going to be a really good, engaging commercial, you don't even need to put it on TV anymore, right? It should go online and go viral. And that's what a lot of companies have started to realize and started to do, right? Um, Radio, right? Radio viewership has also gone down. Now people are doing a lot more satellite radio, XFM radio, and a lot of people are subscribed to podcasts on iTunes. I personally like to just listen to my music and MP3s. I got it on my phone all the time with me. So radio advertising isn't as effective, but of course it can still be done. But in my opinion, it's a bit more overpriced than what you could be doing online, which is going to be a lot less expensive and more effective. Print advertising, I'm sure everyone will agree with this. It's getting really overpriced, and I say overpriced because print advertising, you cannot track your return on investment the way that you can with online advertising. You get way more metrics with online advertising. So why would you pile your money into print advertising and not really be sure if it's working? It's much more of a risk rather than going online. And you can find places to advertise online or hire social media directors to help advertise for you, and it'd be way more effective. And you actually get to know what's working, what's not, and you could tweak it in real time. Once something goes to print, that's it. It's going to print. So a lot of businesses are starting to realize this, how online stuff is just way more effective and in many ways. Research is showing that ads on websites, such as banner ads and even Google AdSense, they're decreasing in effectiveness now because people are getting used to it. They're seeing the ads and they're used to ignoring it. And again, you could still do online advertising. It can still be effective in some ways. I've seen in my own experience. I'm now experienced in social media. If someone gave me the budgets that they're spending on their banner ads, and I put that into like Facebook ads, I can get way more results for them. We're talking about people spending thousands of dollars to put banner ads on websites, and you take that onto Facebook, and on average we're getting leads at about $1.50 per lead, and I can optimize this. I can make this better over time. So it doesn't even make sense why you'd be taking your risk on a banner ad when you could. And in some businesses, you can just guarantee them the leads at, let's just say $1.50 is the average, and this is between many industries. And I've also talked to other consultants. The average lead on Facebook is about $1.50, right? So why spend thousands of dollars on banner ads? Okay. So bottom line here is that businesses are looking for new ways to reach and engage and also to sell to these new audiences. Okay. They are looking for you. They're looking for us. They want this information. I've been in the social media industry now for 4 years, and I just see small businesses that are really hungry for someone who can really perform and provide good results. But of course, there's so many people out there that say they could do it and then don't do it, and then there's this never-ending loop of this. So we need to understand what it is that their goal is and then how we can help them achieve it. And that's what I hope that you'll get out of this presentation, exactly how to do that. So many of you know that all of my previous workshops have always been focused on small business. This is my first workshop that I'm doing, this webinar that you're on right now, which I've asked small businesses not to attend. And I'll tell you a secret as to why. It's not going to be a secret after I tell you, but it's something that I've noticed is that I'm training small businesses. Okay, I've been doing this now for 4 years, training small businesses, and I recently hired a coach to help me with my business, and we were looking at who's gotten the best results out of my workshops and who's made serious amounts of incomes and serious lifestyle changes. And what we noticed was it was all the people that were offering social media to small businesses. The small business owners, they didn't want to do social media on their own. They didn't want to handle it. They come into the workshops and they think it's overwhelming, they're not very technical, and they don't have time to manage social media on their own. So here are some of the things that small business owners have told me. These are specific things. These are word for word through a survey that I did. This is things that they've told me. Okay. They're too busy to do it themselves, right? They're already managing their own business, maybe their own sales or whatever it might be that they have to handle in their own business, their employees and all that. To try to get them to do their own social media, they just don't got time for it. I've shown them time-saving techniques and all this kind of stuff, and they still, they just don't want to actually implement it, right? They always tell me, "Can you just do it for me? Can you help find me somebody?" I mean, if anyone's been through my programs before and and their experience in social media, they probably got a referral from me because I get so many people asking for someone else to do it for them. Okay. It's oftentimes it's very hard to even get them interested in learning how to do it. I can get some people into my workshops to learn how to do it, but oftentimes when I get a business that I really want to help, these businesses that have been around for like 10 years, they have a real business, they have real customers, they have real revenues. And when you work with a company like that, anyone who's in marketing can agree, when you work with a company that's doing, maybe 500,000 or even $1 million in revenue already, you're able to go in there and you could just tweak it and just turn this little knob and you could just like explode with results for them, right? You could really help them out. Um, so what my job has always been to try to teach them to do it themselves, but then they don't actually implement it. So then if they just hire me, I do it, and of course I can give them great results. But okay, and the third thing, this is probably the most important, is they're worried about making mistakes, saying the wrong thing, hurting their brand, and alienating their customers. If you follow any of the social media news, you've probably seen a lot of the the horror stories that have happened. I think there was a really funny one with like Applebee's. If you ever saw that one, where the social media director like lashed out at at the customers online and like crazy stuff that has happened. So people see these horror stories and they see companies being hurt by social media, and they think, well, if I just stay away from that, I won't get hurt. And that's one of the things why they're avoiding it, because they really don't know. They don't know what they're supposed to do. They don't have a strategy set out yet, right? And so they're actually afraid to take that first leap. As a result, a lot of businesses are happy to get someone else to do it for them, and that's what I hope that a lot of you here in the webinar will be able to go out and do and help people with this. Double checking if we got any questions here. So we got okay. What is PVR? You're gonna have to Google that one. All right. So how can we help these businesses? Okay, if you wanted to get a job as a social media director, the average pay is between $30,000 to about $70,000 or more per year, which is pretty good. Okay, what's really interesting about this is that these companies, they're not looking for people with a degree in marketing, because a lot of times with social media, there is no degree in social media, and people with degrees in marketing often don't have experience with social media. Now, I believe, like if you're in school like today and you're studying marketing, social media is a part of it. I don't think it's in most schools. I can't speak for all schools. I don't think social media is a big part of it, right? Because you're learning more of marketing foundations. So when companies are out and looking for people in social media positions, they don't expect degrees, right? They just want someone who knows what they're doing, and you're going to get interviewed, and they're going to want to know that you can actually get them real results. And so hopefully the stuff that you're going to learn here in this presentation later on is exactly the kind of stuff that you're going to want to tell them that you're going to do. What I think is that the opportunity is in working with the 30 million small businesses that I mentioned earlier. Right? These businesses all have advertising budgets, so you could go and work and make $30,000 or $70,000 a year. But honestly, I'm going to show you later my formula for making $100 a day, and you'll be making more than $30,000 a year working on your own and not even working full time. Okay, I think you could do it in about 20 hours a week at that rate, making about nearly, like, let's call it $36,000 a year. Okay, $36,000 to $40,000 a year, working part time as a social media director. All right, so that's why I think it is great if you're not really the entrepreneur type, you don't want to become a freelancer, you just want to go get a job. That's great. You can go and do that, and the opportunity is there. But I think that if you want to build a lifestyle for yourself, or you're free to do kind of whatever you want, work your own hours, then I think that definitely the freelancer position is great. I have a funny story. I was telling a friend of mine how I recently watched Breaking Bad. I don't know if anyone else is a fan of the show. I started watching Breaking Bad a few weeks ago, and I finished all 5 seasons in like 2.5 or 3 weeks. So I was telling a friend how I had done this, and he was like, "Matt, that is the definition of being self-employed." Being able to watch 5 seasons of Breaking Bad in 2.5 or 3 weeks. And another thing was I started like getting up at like 7 a.m. and then going to the gym at 8 a.m. and doing that. I've been doing this for the last week, and again, people are like joking about how like you obviously don't have a regular full-time job, right? If you just spend 2 hours every morning in the gym. But it's all about lifestyle, and that's what I try to create as a freelancer, as an entrepreneur. It's about lifestyle. It's not always about how much money can I make and all that kind of stuff. It's a lifestyle you can create, which also goes into servicing the community and doing it that way. So I really encourage the freelancer option. I know it can be scary to start your own business if you haven't already, but I really think that if you just maybe had a job on the side and you're doing some social media, and maybe if you have a job, sorry, and you're doing some social media on the side to start out, good way to start. But I really think you can go in and create a full-time career as a social media director working on your own. So in order to get these companies to hire you, you're going to have to position yourself as an expert. If they don't think you're an expert, they're not going to hire you. Okay? So you want to be specific on exactly what you do for clients. So, for example, is like when you go in for your meeting, you're going to tell them, okay, look, they're going to want to know how many times you're going to post, right? How many new fans and followers should I expect? How many leads do you think you can get me? You want to be realistic with this stuff, and you'll be able to estimate it more accurately as you gain more experience. So you want to do it as best as you can now. And there's a lot of stuff I'm going to show you again later in this webinar. I'm going to show you like how many times you want to post and all that kind of stuff, and how you can grow your fan base. Um, but you want to be very specific on what it is, so that way they know that you're doing your job, because they're not watching you, right? You're going to be working from home or from your coffee shop, or maybe you've got an office or whatever, but you're not necessarily working. They're not watching over your shoulder, and they don't understand social media. They don't know if what you're doing is really working or whatever. They don't know how to really measure that. You have to show them what it is and how it's working. So when you have very specific, tangible things, and you're going to say, I'm going to do this, 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 then at the end of the month, they're not going to be complaining and saying, I don't really feel like you did anything, right? So again, you want to be really specific. Okay. You also want to be very specific about your goals, and this was really important. So if they tell you they want more sales, then you want to focus on getting them more leads and not necessarily growing their fans and followers, right? I'm sure everyone knows that numbers on social media are vanity numbers, right? And I always like this metaphor is like, if nobody knew how many Facebook fans you had, would you even care, right? And I think that a lot of you know the answer. You wouldn't care. It's gamification. So Facebook has gamified the whole idea of getting fans, and now they're charging you to get those fans. The same thing is with Twitter, right? All those stats, how many times you tweeted, who you're following, who's following you, all those numbers are gamifying social networks to make it more addictive, right? The number doesn't actually matter. I mean, if you're generating sales, you're generating leads. I mean, I've 8,000 people following me. It doesn't mean I have 8,000 customers from Twitter, right? So it's really about I can't even handle 8,000 customers, so it's really about how many of those fans and followers are you actually converting into real sales, and that's what really matters. But then again, if the company says, "Look, we don't need more sales. We just want to impress people," or something. Now, some companies will do this. They just want to impress people by having bigger numbers. Then do that. Don't worry about the leads. Just focus on getting more fans. I mean, these are just two examples of goals they might have. There's many other goals that they might have, but this is what you want to be very specific about. What is the outcome that they're trying to achieve at the end of your work? Just checking out some of your guys' questions. I just saw a bunch come in here. I see a lot of questions coming in that I'm actually going to answer later in the webinar, so I'm going to hold off on answering them right now. So the next one is to set up offers to your clients that are campaign based. So that means you're going to go in, you're going to execute something, and you're going to come back, and then you're going to talk, and you're going to come up with the next steps. You're going to go in, you're going to execute something. You want campaigns that you're going to be doing on a regular basis. They really like that word, and they like seeing massive action, and then looking at the results, seeing how it all worked out for you or for them, right? And then going in and creating another campaign. That takes a lot of creativity, right? But that way you can really measure your results. So whatever it is you're doing, you always want to think in the campaign-based mentality as like, this 2 weeks, my campaign goal is to do this, right? And you want to be able to describe that to your client, that you are creating campaigns on a regular basis, and you can be charging them per campaign, okay? It's a really important one that I find gets a very high conversion when you're speaking one-on-one with a client. Okay, and this one's really important. Is you want to position yourself as an expert in a particular network, industry, or a campaign type. So an example is you can become an expert on Pinterest, or an expert on Twitter, or an expert on Facebook, or whatever it might be. Or you could be an expert in doing social media for real estate agents, or social media for nonprofits. Okay, that's how you position yourself as an expert. Another one is to be, an expert on social media contests. That's campaign type, right? Or a really good one that I haven't seen anybody do yet is an expert on doing social media campaigns for crowdsourcing or crowdfunding. I think that's a really good one. Anybody who's on the webinar that wants to get into that, I haven't seen anybody who's positioned themselves that way, and I think there's a huge opportunity, especially in crowdfunding, because you could even do something where you get a percentage of all the funds that you raise, and in lots of opportunities there inside that area. But again, so it's campaign type, so you could choose how you want to position yourself, but you want to be an expert in something. All right, and this one's really important is that you do not want to offer something to your clients that you feel will not bring value to them, because when you do it and it doesn't work, even if they told you to do it, if it doesn't work, they're going to blame you. Okay? So even if they ask you to do it, if you don't think it's going to work, if you don't feel confident that that's the right move, don't do it. Because it's gonna first of all, it's gonna hurt your feelings, because at the end of the month you're not gonna feel very good because you didn't perform well for your clients, right? But it could also hurt your reputation, right? If they start going and saying, "Oh, I hired that guy and he didn't do a very good job." I mean, I've met with a lot of people that when I met with them, they told me who did social media for them before and how that person didn't do a good job, you know. And I realized that, well, if I don't do a good job, they're gonna tell the next person I didn't do a good job, right? So I want to make sure that what I do is I'm always doing a good job. So you need to be the authority. You're the one in charge, not them. You're the social media expert, not them. So if you don't think it's gonna work, you don't think it's a good idea, don't let them be the one to tell you that it is. Okay, in my opinion, businesses need leads and not exposure. Okay, David Ogilvy is a very famous advertising person. He did a lot of direct response marketing, and he says that if it doesn't sell, it isn't creative. So if your campaigns aren't selling, aren't generating leads, they're not good. They're not what you should be doing, especially when working with small to mid-sized businesses. I highly recommend that you focus on the number of leads that you're generating for small businesses. What you do not want to do is focus on the actual sell. You're not a salesperson, and if you are, you should always negotiate a commission per sale if you are responsible for making the sale happen. But what I think as social media directors, our job is to generate leads. We're marketers, we're making leads. We're not salespeople. But again, if you want to do sales and they want you to do sales, I highly recommend that you negotiate a commission per sale, because you're going an extra mile there. It's more than the duty of a social media director. So David Ogilvy was a direct response, very famous direct response marketer, and and that's why right now I want to talk about the difference between branding and direct response marketing and how to identify each of them in the campaign. So I just looked up the definitions on Wikipedia. If you take a look at this, it says branding. Okay, so brand is a name, term, design, symbol, or any other feature that identifies one seller's good or service as distinct from others. So I don't think that's a great description, actually, now that I'm rereading it. But basically, the example that I want to give you is if you had the opportunity, okay, one of two opportunities. One is to stand in front of a crowd of 500 people and tell them all, broadcast to all of them, and tell them all about your product or service. Okay, so you can go in front of 500 people and tell them right now about your product or service. Or, okay, this is your second option. You can get the names of the people, the 500. Let's just say you can get 50 of the 500 people, the 50 people who are most likely to buy your products. You can have their name, their number, and their email address. Which would you prefer, right? So I think a lot of us are going to agree that we'd want to have the name of 50 people, or even forget 50, 10. Okay, if you could have 10 people that are are the most likely to buy from you versus standing in front of 500 people and then just telling them what your product or service is. You could even leave a flyer on every one of their chairs. Okay, what I'm saying is that you're going to get a way higher conversion by knowing your customers' names rather than them knowing your name. So branding is about them knowing your name. Direct response is about you knowing their name. It's about generating the lead so that way you can follow up. Okay? I hope everybody understands the power of that and why that is so important, because that's probably the biggest thing that I see a lot of social media marketers making a mistake on is they're trying to get their name out there. A lot of businesses, they come to me, they say, I want people to know my company name more. I want more branding. And I walk into meetings like that where people say, I want more branding. I walk in, I say, look, you don't want more branding, you want more sales, right? And they go, well, yeah, I want more sales. Like, okay, then forget about branding. Let's do some direct response marketing. When you do direct response marketing really well on social media, it turns into a great brand because people start appreciating you, they start noticing you, and you get that brand exposure too. All the marketing that I do is direct response marketing, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree that people now know me, they know my company. I have a brand now, it's been created, but I've never done any branding. Right? I've never hired a brander. I've never really studied a lot of branding. I studied direct response marketing. Uh, I want the leads. That way I can follow up with them. I want to find out more about them. Just taking a look at some of your questions here before I move on. Okay, again, a lot of the questions here will get answered later on in this presentation. All right, so here's the meat that you guys came for about how to price your services and what to offer. I think you're gonna really like this part. So, what I recommend is you offer monthly packages. That way, you're building a residual income that you could build on top month over month. Once you get to a point where you can't handle it anymore, that's when you can start hiring somebody and train them on how to do it as well. So this is just a suggestion. These pricing packages are just a suggestion. You want to adapt them yourself. You could charge double or 5 times or 10 times what I've suggested here. You can charge $10,000 a month for social media to a big company. Okay, people do that. Okay, so I'm just suggesting this is just you're starting out. Maybe you're still building up your confidence on how many leads you can generate, how many fans and followers you can get, and all that kind of stuff. But this is what you can start out with, and I'm going to break it down for you as what you're going to offer in the packages, and then how that translates into $100 to $500 a day. So here's the first one you could do. This is for $300 a month, and I estimate once you get good at it, and once you understand the company, it's going to take you about 2 hours a week. Maybe when you're first starting out, it might take you 4 hours, but I think 4 hours is a really long time to implement this, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to post once a day on Facebook. You're going to post 3 times a day on Twitter, and you're going to optimize at least one video per week is what I recommend on YouTube. So you're not going to maybe produce the video, but your client would actually produce the video. And there's lots of very inexpensive ways to produce video. For example, you could make a slide presentation like what I have here, and then talk over it and talk about some of the values and educate people on the products and services that the client offers, that sort of thing. Right? So if they're doing videos, you give them the option that you'll optimize. And when I say optimize, what that means is you optimize it for search. So that way when someone is searching on Google for a specific keyword, that video will pop up number one. This is one of the most effective ways of using YouTube as a lead gen source. So you make the video, and then you say, hey, if you want more of this, or if you want to purchase this product, go here to my website and get my free thing, or buy it now, or whatever, right? So you could really use video a lot to sell, and video creates a lot more trust when you're meeting people online that have never met you in person, and then they can hear your voice or they can see you. It builds a lot more trust. And again, you could throw something else in there as well. You can do some LinkedIn stuff if you want to, or whatever else. What you always want to offer is reputation management. And that means that if someone's talking about the brand, the company, you need to be on top of it, whether they're saying good things or bad things. You need to respond to everybody. What I do is I set up Google alerts. So anytime somebody says the brand's name or anything related around it, I see it on a Google alert once it gets indexed. There's also other stuff. There's one called topc.com, which scrapes social media sites like Twitter and Facebook and that sort of thing. Again, anybody says anything, you jump on it. You could use something like Hootsuite. Anybody says a keyword related to your business, you jump on it. Another thing that's really powerful that you could do in that one is you can actually, if you're working with a local business, like a coffee shop, for example, Hootsuite has a really great feature where you can actually set a radius around that coffee shop, and like let's say a 10-kilometer radius, okay, or a 5-kilometer radius, or something like that. And when somebody says, "Oh, I'm tired," or "Oh, I need a coffee," or "Oh, I'm exhausted," or "Oh, I'm hungry," as soon as someone says that and they're within like a 5-kilometer radius of that cafe or that restaurant, it'll alert you, And then you could respond with, "Hey, come into our coffee shop, and we got a great deal, great special for our Twitter fans," or whatever, and try to get them to actually go in. You could actually generate direct sales that way. It's actually a really interesting concept, and I don't see a lot of social media directors doing that, but it's huge. It's super powerful, especially when you're working with local businesses. Second package is for $500 a month, and this will probably take you about 4 hours a week of work. Okay. Again, when you're starting out, you might want to tack on an extra hour or two. First time doing it, or you're just getting used to it, or you're trying to understand the concepts of the businesses. So when you're trying to find like posts to share on Facebook and Twitter, you got to understand the business a little bit. Like one time I had a company, like a ballet company, asked me to do their social media. Like I know nothing about ballet. It'd be very hard for me to find content. I knew it would take a long time, so I turned it down. Right. But again, you may want to work with it some more. Obviously, over time, I could learn more about ballet, and then I could, perform the actions more professionally or more accurately. So for this one, you're gonna do one post a day on Facebook. You're also gonna manage their Facebook advertising, and I'm gonna recommend that you get at least a $200 ads budget on Facebook. I will show you one of 3 campaigns that you can run on Facebook. I do a lot of training on Facebook advertising. If anyone's familiar with it, I do a program called the Facebook for Brands program. It's available online. If you guys are interested in it, just email me later. I can send you the link. But basically, you want to do some Facebook ads management. You also want to do a social media campaign every month, like something like a contest or some kind of a giveaway you're doing, maybe to download your new ebook, to attend one of your events, do like an open house party. You want to do something where it's very actively trying to get like you're trying to build more engagement in the community around the brand. Okay. Then you're going to be posting more frequently on Twitter. So instead of doing it 3 times a day, you do it 5 times a day. Okay, you could pre-schedule these tweets as well, and also later on in this workshop, I'm going to show you a cool tool that I use for scheduling. It's free, and what it does is it schedules your tweets based on the activity of your followers, which is really powerful. And this time, if they're doing lots of YouTube marketing, now you're going to optimize at least 2 videos per week, right? So every time you put up one of these videos, you're ranking it on Google. It's helping actually their SEO juice, as well as building lots of engagement on YouTube, getting their subscriber base up, and there's so many benefits to using YouTube in that way. And again, reputation management, you can include, helping them get better reviews on review sites and all that kind of stuff. So that's something else you're going to want to work with all the time, okay? Reputation management is really important to these small businesses. The last one, this one here is for $1,000 a month. And this will take you at least 6 hours of work per week. And this time you're going to do 2 posts per day on Facebook. You're going to want to look up, peak times on Facebook for specific industries that you're working with, so you know what time you're posting and all that. The more frequency you have with posts, the more engagement they're going to get. This time you're going to want to do even more Facebook ads. You're probably going to want to up their budget a little bit on their Facebook advertising, and you're going to run at least 6 campaigns for them. Okay, so this is somebody who's looking to do lots of Facebook advertising. You're going to need to get at least $1,000 a month to do it, because you're going to have to do a lot of tweaking and testing. It's very time intensive to do really good Facebook advertising. Next is you're going to do at least 2 social media campaigns. So I would do one every 2 weeks as opposed to just one a month. And this time you're posting 9 times a day on Twitter. And again, if you post 9 times a day on Twitter, your engagement is going to go way up. You're going to do really well on Twitter. And this time you're going to optimize at least 3 videos per week on YouTube. Again, you could slot something else in here. These are just examples of packages you could put together. I'm just giving you examples. You don't got to do this exactly, of course. Everybody adapts it. You could offer the $1,000 package and only do the stuff that I'm saying to do for $500 a month. Like you could just mix and match and do whatever you need to do here. All right. So this next slide, there's going to be a little bit of math involved. I hope nobody is scared of math, so I'm just going to get in there. I don't know if anyone's... I never liked math when I was in high school. All right, so here's how it works out to $100 to $500 a day. If you had 10 clients, which is very easy to get, you get 10 clients that is paying you $300 a month, okay? That's $3,000 in total you're making per month. If you're just doing 5 days a week, you're not going to work 7 days a week, right? 5 days a week, maybe on the weekends, you just got to kind of check what's going on your phone, that sort of thing, but it should be pretty good. You could choose what days of the week you want to work, and this is all just estimates, right? You're actually making $150 a day. and that's on about 20 hours a week. Okay. Again, when you're first getting started, it might be a little bit more, but really the 20 hours a week is pretty good for doing this. Okay. If you had 10 clients at $500 a month, right now you're looking at $250 a day. Okay. And now you're working full 40 hours a week. And check out this one. If you got 10 clients at $1,000 a month, which is very doable, you're making $10,000 a month. Okay, sure, you're working 60 hours a week, but a lot of people who own their own business will work 60 hours a week. Okay, I probably work 60 hours a week when I'm really grinding out, creating lots of campaigns and all that kind of stuff. It's very possible to 60 hours. I hope that doesn't scare everybody away. But I mean, you're making $120,000 a year working 60 hours a week. You could take vacations still. Okay, you could also manage all this from anywhere in the world. I went to Australia recently for 5 weeks, still working while I was away. You can go wherever you want and still continue doing this. And you could also pre-schedule everything. That's what I do. I pre-schedule, and then I just monitor on my phone, right? I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how I do that, how I do my pre-scheduling. But again, super easy stuff to do. All right, so this is what you want to do when you're getting started with a new client. Okay? You want to set SMART goals with them. Okay? You want to make sure that all the goals that you've set are very specific, they're measurable, you'll know what the outcome is at the end of the month, they're attainable, they're realistic, and they are timely. Okay? That means they're going to get done in a certain period of time. Using SMART goals is really important. I highly recommend this. Sorry, I'm just checking out the questions here. A lot of people are asking if they're going to get my slides. My slides will not be available at the end of the workshop. Looking at more questions here, just backing up a bit. Yeah, I'm just checking out some of these questions are very good questions, but I'm just thinking about they're very yeah. I don't want to go on a rant on answering these questions right now. Maybe if we stick around to the end, I'll answer your questions. Some of those questions will take me 5 or 10 minutes to answer, so I'm going to avoid them for right now so we can carry on. At the end of the presentation, I'll stick around and answer all your questions. How's that? All right. So the next thing is you want to charge a setup fee because when you first get started, it's going to be a lot more work. So whatever your setup fee, that's up to you. I suggest you budget to create a landing page on their fan page, so that way you can generate leads on their fan page itself. When you generate leads inside of Facebook, you will pay less per acquisition. Okay, it's really important because if you are advertising outside Facebook, you're actually going to pay more per lead. Okay, Facebook actually gives you sort of like a discount. It's like an unadvertised discount when you're advertising inside Facebook. You keep them inside the Facebook domain. So you want that at landing page. I create landing pages using contest domination, which creates a viral loop after someone enters a contest. They get incentivized for sharing with their friends. Another app that I use is called Wishpond. Okay, you can go to wishpond.com if you guys are interested in checking that one out as well. Okay, you need a minimum of $200 a month in Facebook advertising budget. Okay, and you're going to need this with all your clients. So even when they pay you that $300 a month and you're going to do some advertising for them, really they're paying you $500. But what you're actually doing, sorry, they're not actually giving you this $200 budget. What they're doing is they set up their Facebook ads account, they put in their credit card information, and then they admin you to the account and then set a cap to their monthly spend to $200. That's how you work it out. So they don't actually pay you and then you spend it, whatever, because you get some, then it just becomes a taxing and invoicing kind of work that you don't need to be doing. So you need this advertising budget so that way you can get them way more results with what you're doing on Facebook. I highly recommend this. I don't take any clients without a minimum $200 Facebook advertising budget. And again, I mean, I'm not trying to push a sale on my Facebook for Brands workshop, but in the Facebook for Brands workshop, I go through the whole formula of like how much you're spending per campaign and all that kind of stuff. If you're not familiar with it already, again, you can email me if you want the link to grab that. You want to find out what their acquisition cost is. So how much are they currently spending to get new leads? And a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm spending about, $10 per new lead." No, no, no. It's not about. You want to go and find out the real number because they're going to say 10 and you're going to go in there and they're spending 50, you know? Like they don't really know, because they're not keeping track of it. Most business owners don't keep track of it, right? I sometimes lose track of it too, and I go back and I look and I realize that I was spending $1.50 and now I'm spending $5, because I didn't realize that all these new campaigns I was running weren't really working as well as the old ones or whatever. I've had that happen to me before. So as a consultant in marketing, you need to know acquisition cost and you need to know lifetime value. So how much does it cost them currently to get a new lead or new customer? Sorry, new lead and a new customer. So for example, let's just say it costs $1 per new lead, and for every 10 leads, on average, they get one new customer. Therefore, it costs them $1 per lead and $10 per new customer. All right, and then that customer will spend on the initial transaction will spend $100, for example. But the lifetime value is that over the next 2 years, on average, they're going to spend $3,000. Okay, I'm making up numbers here. Okay, so that's what lifetime value is. So a lot of times when you're doing your marketing, you want to be focusing on, okay, how much is our acquisition cost? That's the first thing, right? How much is it costing us to actually get the customer? Okay, and then the initial transaction can be a loss leader. This is how sites like Groupon, daily deal sites. This is how they build their business. Is because people are discounting and making very little money on the initial transaction, but they're building new customers, right? They're getting new customers, and it's sometimes even costing them money for those customers. But they know that over the next 2 years, that customer is going to come back and they're going to spend X amount of money. They know their numbers, they know their business, and that's why they know it's going to work. Okay, and that's how you need to be marketing with businesses. You need to educate them on this idea. This is how marketing works. Okay, this is just how it is. So when businesses don't get it, they don't get it, and it's not ever going to work for them. Okay, so you need to get this. My cat's going crazy behind me. 1 second. I'm just going to move her. Go away. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear her meowing like crazy. Anyway, so again, I'm going to repeat what that is, how that works. Okay. You want to find the acquisition cost, how much it is to get the customer, how much are they spending on the initial transaction. That you could be a loss leader. You could profit nothing from that, and it usually is okay. Okay, and then how much are they spending over the next 2 years? Okay, so you need to figure out acquisition cost and lifetime value. This is the key thing, first thing before working with any client, because a lot of times, a lot of people ask me, I really don't like multi-level marketing. Okay, a lot of people, I know you've probably heard me say this. It's not that I don't like it. I hate it. Okay, excuse my language. I really don't like multi-level marketing, and one of the reasons is if I run these numbers, acquisition costs, like how much. Okay, the other thing is like how much time did it take you to get the lead? Maybe it didn't cost you actual dollars, but time, right? So if you want to calculate your time, how much money do you want to make per year, right? If you take how much money you want to make per year, how many hours do you want to work per week? You just do a little bit of division, you could find out what your hourly rate is. So then you go, okay, how many hours did it take me to get this new client? How much am I going to make off of them in the next 2 years? And I've done this for many MLMs, and I've probably done this for about 5 or 6, okay, in the last year when I started doing this. Because I try to get people out of doing multi-level marketing like this. And I run the numbers, and on all the MLMs that I've run the numbers through, they're not profitable because of this. Because when you really understand real marketing and how business works, it's not profitable, right? You're going to be working. You're never going to hit your target. You're never going to make whatever it is you think you're going to make, and the lifestyle that people are they're promising you. It's not going to work. So that's why again these numbers are really really important. All right, so now we're going to get into some of these techniques and how to actually implement some of this stuff here. I'm just taking a look at some of the comments and the questions I got here before I get into it. I got okay, I got lots of people laughing about my MLM jokes. All right, so here's how you make your clients think that you are magical. All right, here we go. So the secret to getting 10 times more engagement on Facebook and Twitter is to post more frequently and consistently. Okay? The more you post, the more engagement you're going to get. Hands down. Okay? That is it. That is the secret to getting engagement online. If you just post once in a while, you will not build an ongoing relationship with these people. Okay? The next thing is that the quality of your content that you share matters. So don't just post. I just told you post more often. Don't just post because you're going to get more engagement if you post more. It's got to be good content. If you don't have quality content, it's not going to matter how much you post. You're just not going to look very good. You need to understand how Facebook's newsfeed algorithm ranks content and how to use large images and use dollar-a-day page post ads. And if you're wondering how to do all that, I'm going to show you that in the next session here. Okay, I'm going to show you all that: how EdgeRank works, how to use large images to build more engagement, get more attention to your post, and then also how to do dollar-a-day ads. That's something you want to do with all your clients. But before I get into that, I'm going to show you guys a cool tool that I've discovered that's very unknown. It's actually not available to the public, but the developer of the tool actually found me on Twitter. We started talking, and then he asked me to check out his tool and start playing with it and testing it for him. So it's still in beta, and he's giving me permission to let you know about it, so you can go and try it out. But again, it's in beta, so it might be a little bit glitchy, but it's a very powerful tool. What it does is it schedules your tweets automatically by understanding when your followers are most active on Twitter, which is going to help you get the most engagement. So I'm going to go ahead and just open up my browser here and show you guys this tool here. So right now I'm on a site called, you have to type in beta.minideck.co. Okay, it's beta.minideck.co. And I'm going to show you how this works. I just go like this, and I go, hey world, here's my cool tweet. I could post it now, but I go ahead and go add to schedule. So at 9:24 is when it determined that is the next peak time that my Twitter followers are most engaged. Okay. Hey, just wanted to say hello one more time. Explanation marks. All right. Add to schedule. And now you can see this one's going out 8:41, right? So the more tweets that you put in there, it's going to try to diagnose your Twitter followers and then schedule the tweets based on those times. Okay. I'm going to show you here inside of the settings. Remember I talked about tweeting either 3, 5, or 9 times a day? That's where I got these numbers from, right? Because now I can go in here, if the client is paying me $500 a month, right, then I'm tweeting 5 times a day for them. And all I got to do is go out and find great content that I want to share on Twitter, right, and then schedule it in there, and it takes like no time. I mean, once you find the content, it takes no time to just schedule it really quick. And once it's all scheduled there, it's very easy to go in and just move things around. See, I can just push it down, push it up. If I want to edit it, I just hit this little edit button. Super easy to use. Again, this app is still in beta, so I've noticed some glitches and stuff like that that go in it sometimes. But yeah, super powerful and highly recommend this. If you use Hootsuite, Hootsuite also has a similar feature. I find Hootsuite a little bit slower to actually get in there and schedule everything. I'm just really quick with this. It's very simple. I mean, look at it. There's nothing to it. All I can do is schedule tweets. But if you're used to using Hootsuite and you like that, Hootsuite is awesome, right? Hootsuite has so many other benefits and features. I recommend using the premium version of Hootsuite as well, so you can use the radius thing I was telling you about, where you can set a radius around a local business. That's a premium feature. I'm a huge fan of Hootsuite. I don't use it myself, but it is a powerful tool, and I'm almost ashamed to say that I don't actually use it myself because it is so good. I just never got used to the UI of it. All right, so that's MiniDeck, and that's how I manage Twitter for my clients. All right, so now I'm going to tell you about EdgeRank, Facebook's algorithm for ranking content in the newsfeed. So EdgeRank is based on 3 factors. The first one is called affinity. Now, what Facebook is trying to do with affinity is trying to figure out how well your fans actually know your business. And they're trying to find real world triggers. So I'm going to give you an example here. I was reading an article about how Mark Zuckerberg, he hired a psychologist and a sociologist, and they worked side by side with Mark Zuckerberg for a long time. They were right beside him, and they have like a square desk that kind of go around, kind of like a boardroom style. And they actually showed a picture of how this was all designed. And what they were doing is they were working on building the new groups feature. So if you're familiar with groups on Facebook, and what they were doing is they were trying to figure out how do we create a group which is just like being in person in a room together. And that's how they created the new groups feature. Is they were looking at how real world scenarios. So you want to look at affinity of like how would Facebook, with all the triggers that they have as a software, try to determine who your real fans are. So let's just use the questions box now if you want to try to make some guesses as to how they would be able to figure this out using some triggers. What do you guys think? What are some of the features on a fan page? Okay. And this it says when people breathe. All right, so I'll give you a little hint here. So let's just say I have an event and I have a photographer there, take some pictures, then I upload the photos on my fan page. Okay. Actually, let me back up. Sorry. I have an event, so I invite people to my event. I schedule it on Facebook on my fan page, invite people to my event. They say yes, they're going. Then the day the event hits, Facebook thinks that I've now met these people in person. Okay. Then my photographer's taking pictures. I upload the photo album on Facebook, and now I tag people who are at my event in my pictures on my photo album. Now again, they see people are actually engaged with my company, right? Now I'm making posts on Facebook. People are liking and commenting on it. This is all building affinity, right? It's building a relationship between your customers, your fans, and your pages. I'm just looking at some of your other suggestions. Everybody is correct. Everything everybody just typed in was all correct. So we got getting more engagement, getting more likes, having similar interests. Photos, images are way more engaging. Yes, tagging, commenting, checking into your business. Good one, David. Sharing your page, sharing your post. Absolutely, David, you got that. David was just in the SMD, so that's how he knows those answers so well. The next one is weight. So this is on your specific post. So when you have more weight, so weight is things like comments, likes, adding links and tags to your post. So when you have a link preview in your post, that creates more weight to your post. If you attach a photo, it creates more weight. If you attach an offer or an event or a milestone, or what else is there? Yeah, you could tag other pages in it, that sort of thing. All that creates weight. But what creates the most weight is comments. The more comments you get is the most weight that you can achieve. Okay? Or the other one is uploading a video and attaching a video. That creates weight as well. And the last one is called time decay. So basically, within about 24 to 48 hours, your post is not going to be seen in the newsfeed anymore. Facebook is a lot different than all other algorithms because other algorithms like Twitter's is all time based. And that's why on Twitter we'll post like 9 times a day because it's time based. If you post 9 times a day on Facebook, it's not effective because they're trying to find the most relevant post and then showing that to the most relevant fans, right? And it works the same with friends, between friends, right? So what you want to do is you want to post during peak times, okay? Which is actually the peak times. I'll just kind of throw it out. They're 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Okay, 11, 3, and 8. But when you use this dollar a day strategy that I'm about to show you, then you will be able to get your posts seen all day. So if anyone's been a fan of my fan page, just curious here, who's a fan of my fan page? And actually, before you answer that, who's a fan of my fan page and has seen the ad or not the ad. Well, it is an ad, but it's a post with an image of me that's from a video, my video that I shot. Who's seen that in the last week? A lot. Who's seen that a lot? Okay, everyone's saying yes, me, seen it. Okay, so I'm using this dollar a day strategy, and that's why you see it all the time, all day, and I'm doing that on purpose. That way, it reaches all my fans. Okay, I want to build frequency of that post, so I'm actually letting that post run until I get a certain amount of frequency with all my fans. I want all my fans to see it 3 to 5 times. Okay, and I can actually look at the stats and I can see when I've actually reached that peak. So far, I spent about $24 on that ad so far. All right, I'm just going back here and looking at some of your questions before I get into my live demo. Great. Okay. Getting some random questions here that have nothing to do with my presentation, but that's okay too. All right, so I went to Social Media Marketing World in March of this year. I'm a big fan of Mari Smith. I love Mari Smith. Chris Brogan was there. Lewis Howes was there. A lot of the social media celebrity types that I've been following for years were all going to be there. Really want to go and see them. Guy Kawasaki was there. I met Guy Kawasaki a few times. Really enjoy his stuff. But what happened was it was a 3-day event, or no, sorry, I think it was 2-day event. And what it was like a conference with multiple tracks. Okay, so every hour there was like 7 or 8 rooms that all had a different presentation in them. And I would go to these presentations, and they were so basic, and they were one-on-one. And you know what? I loved the whole conference. I'm not dogging the conference. I'm planning to go again next year. It's really good. So I'm not saying anything bad about it. Don't take it the wrong way. But just my experience, okay? And again, now I'm not trying to be all egotistical here either, okay? But I'm experienced in social media. And a lot of the talks were very basic. They were maybe a 101 or 102 kind of level, and I was just going in from one room to the next being like, teach me something. I was like, I want something good. And I spent about, I would say about $1,500 to $2,000 on this trip, and I was really hoping to learn some new techniques. I mean, one thing, when you go to conferences, you go and you get the networking, and it's awesome all the time. You always meet somebody that can really help your business. But I really wanted some good content. I was expecting some really good content, right? Again, these are people that I've learned from for years that I was going to hear speak, right? And I went to a talk with Guy Kawasaki. And Guy Kawasaki, if anyone doesn't know him, he runs a site called alltop.com. It's a great resource to find content to post on your pages and on Twitter, by the way. But if anyone follows Guy Kawasaki, he posts about twice an hour, 24 hours a day. Okay, once or twice an hour, 24 hours a day. He has a huge content network, and what I realized with him when I saw how much he posted, right? And he's got like a huge network. I think he has like 300 or 400,000 followers on Twitter. Like he's a big celebrity. He's an amazing guy too. He's a really smart guy. So what he talked about was how he manages all of this content. So what he showed was a technique. Sorry, I'm just reading some of your comments, and they're really funny. Sorry. So what he showed was a technique to manage all this stuff, but he was using Google Plus. Okay, and what he would do in Google Plus was he would create a private community inside Google Plus, and then post his content in there, so only him and his social media manager could see it. But I don't use Google Plus. Okay, I'm not very active on it at all. I use Facebook. So I took the same thing and I applied it to Facebook, and I'm going to show you here how to professionally manage your accounts, manage multiple accounts, 10 clients, easy. How to post content into a private group, have them approve it before you schedule it. I'm going to show you the whole process and how I do this right now. All right. So right here, I'm inside of a private Facebook group for a client that I was working with a few months ago. This was back in July. We stopped working with the client. So in here, I had Yassi. She was my social media director for this client, and then I was overseeing the overall strategy. So what Yassi would go out and do is find content that we want to post on the page, and then post it inside this group, just the way it would look when you post it on a fan page. And the style that we use is what I learned from Guy Kawasaki, where you put in a description, the link, and then you actually upload an image. You don't put in the link. See, if I put this link in like this, I'll show you. It puts in a link preview, right? Let's wait for it to load here. but the link preview is too small. You see that? It's a very small little picture. Instead, what we do is we go to the article and we actually copy the image and then upload it into the post. So that way we have a huge link preview like this. You see that style? Look at this one here with Tim Ferriss. So we could have just done this. Look at this. Like if I post it inside here and you look at the link preview, which is not showing up. Again, I just want to kind of point out the link preview thing. Right? So you have this as an option, or you have this as an option, right? This is way more engaging and seen. So you see we're creating all these posts, and then Jackson, who we're doing it for his page, if he likes the post, okay, that means that it's approved and we can post it. So this one here, he never liked it. That means that we're not allowed to post it. Okay, right there, it says that he did like it. That means we could post it. And usually if he doesn't like it, or if the client doesn't like it, we ask them to leave a comment why they don't like it, so that way we can learn more about what they like and what they don't like and that sort of thing. Okay. Sometimes they'll say, they'll leave a comment and they'll just say, just change the description and say this instead, or use a different picture. And what's really important is that the images that you use, you want to credit the photographers usually here. If the image is straight out of the post, you can just copy it and just put it in. I think that's fine because you're linking to it. But otherwise, we go here, we just put photo credit, and we put the person's name where we got the photo from. Right? And what we do is I actually go on to Flickr. I use Flickr, and I do an advanced search on Flickr, and I find Creative Commons images that are good for non-business purposes. So this year we're not selling anything, so it's okay. And then I credit the photographer from Flickr. That's what I've been doing here. But there's other resources. I'm sure you can find photos. Just credit the photographer, and you should be good on that front. Again, no legal advice here or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure that's okay. All right. So after you've done all of this, right, and you've done that, in order to schedule it, then you have to go to your fan page. Okay. So I'm going to open up my fan page, and I have to repost the post. So if I want to post this thing with Tim Ferriss, I would have to copy this. Okay. Click here. Okay. Then I would have to copy the picture, which I'm not going to do right now just to save time. Okay, but I would close this and I would actually upload the picture. I'd go here and I would upload the picture. Okay. Again, I'm not going to do it just to save time. And then I go here to schedule, and then I put in the date when I want to post. So I hit this little clock here. It's not working right now. I don't know why. It's just I got to refresh the page. 1 second. One moment, please. There we go. So I can go here, 2013. Right, we're now in October. Post this tomorrow, 18. Post it at 11 a.m. And I go schedule. And that's how you would schedule it. So you first put it inside your private group, have your client approve it or give you feedback on it, and then you have to recopy, you have to redo the whole thing again and schedule it on your fan page. And that's how that works. All right, so this is now my magical Facebook advertising technique. These are $1 a day ads that you want to be doing for all your clients. This is going to give you a ton of engagement on Facebook. You're going to just notice that you're getting, you're going to notice night and day difference between getting engagement and not getting engagement. Okay. So what you're using is something called promoted page posts. So when you set up a Facebook ad, there's something called promote page posts, or page post engagement is what they're calling it here. Okay, page post engagement. So you click on that, and then what you do is you click this little box that says keep my ad up to date by automatically promoting my most recent post. Right? You click on that, and then you set your budget to $1 a day. Okay, so you go in. Oh, sorry, and then actually you go in and you actually want to only target your fans. So it's under connections. You go only people connected to your fan page name. So I go $1 a day to only my fans. And that's the key trick in this little technique, because that way I'm not going to non-fans who are like, who the hell is this in my newsfeed, right? I only want to get it to my fans only because they're already engaged with my brand. Okay. And then you set up a dollar a day. So you put your campaign budget at $1 a day. I'm actually not going to do a live demo just because I know I've kind of gone over time here by about 10 minutes. So, well, basically, you just set your budget to $1 per day and just run it all the time. Don't put an end date to it. Just have it go $1 a day. That's it. All right. So if it's okay with you, I want to know if you want to learn exactly how I do or what I do for every one of my clients. Obviously, we don't have enough time to go through everything. I just showed you a few key techniques that you could use, but there is a way to learn more of all these different techniques and strategies and how I implement them for all my clients. Okay. So I run a program called the Social Media Director Certification Program. I've been running this program for almost 2 years. In January, it'll be 2 years of running this program. We had over 120 people go through this program already. And so it's an online workshop now. Previously, a lot of people came into an in-person workshop. The last one we did was all online. What's really great about it now is that you can access it from anywhere in the world, and there's no travel really required. So it's a lot more convenient for a lot more people. So far, the feedback has been really good on the online format. Okay, and what I'm showing you is how to get clients for yourself. Okay, so how to get clients to do social media for them. Okay, then how to get measurable results for your clients so that way they stick around. Okay, and then I'm showing you techniques like the techniques I just showed you, which are all proven time-saving techniques. And they're time-saving techniques because I don't want you spending several hours managing all your clients' profiles. You know, again, I believe this should be a lifestyle business and that you shouldn't have to waste a bunch of time managing social media for your clients. So all the techniques are very quick. They're things you could schedule, you could automate, and all that kind of stuff. It does take some thinking on your side. There's no way to automate what gets posted on your pages and on your Twitter. You don't want to do that. It's ridiculous. You need to find quality content, right? So that kind of stuff, sure, it'll take time, but if you know where to look for the content and how to search and find the right content, it's going to save you tons of time. Okay. The objective of the Social Media Director Certification is that you go through a 5-week program, and then you have 5 weeks to get 5 clients or make $2,500 using the techniques that I show you in the program. And so far, I've yet to see anybody implement the techniques and not be able to achieve either 5 clients or $2,500. There's been several people that go through the program and then just don't implement and they don't get it. That's fine. There's nothing I could do there. I mean, I'm showing you the techniques. You've got to put them into practice in order to make it happen. Okay? But so far, no one's ever implemented and not achieved 5 clients or $2,500. I've had people come out and make $25,000, okay, and $20,000 in a month. Okay, people have gotten ridiculous results out of this. Okay, these were like small businesses and also people doing social media for their clients. So it's all about implementing the techniques that you actually learn. This is like a coaching program. Okay, it's not like you just come in, hear me talk, and then walk away. I'm there with you. I'm answering all your questions. You get priority email support. I mean, this is a real thing for anyone who's really serious about taking their social media skills up to the next level. There's only one catch now. Before, anyone could just go in and just pay and get into the course, where it's no longer like that. Now, I'm doing an application form, and the reason is I want everybody to be at the same level because I want to get a bit more technical. Okay, so if you're currently, just to tell you a few things of kind of what level you need to be at in order to apply for the program. Okay. So first of all, you need to have a basic knowledge of social media. If uploading a YouTube video is difficult for you, it's not for you. Okay, just don't. If you're going to be asking me how to upload a YouTube video, forget about it. You can just Google it, or you can try to figure it out yourself. If you're not able to figure that out, stuff like that, forget it. Okay, you should already be using Facebook personally. You don't got to be using it for business, but be kind of familiar with how it works. And you should have already been seeing people on Facebook and how they post, and seeing businesses posting on their fan pages. Okay, maybe you've already got a Twitter account. A lot of people come into the program with no Twitter, which is actually okay. It's not too bad, but it's better if you have a knowledge of Twitter as well. LinkedIn too. I mean, you don't really. I mean, if you're new on LinkedIn, it's okay. but if you have a LinkedIn already, it's going to be better. But I mean, you need to have some basic knowledge already to start out. You can't come in and have no technical experience. A little test I like to do is I ask people, do you know the difference between a browser and a search engine? So if you know the answer to that, you're probably going to be okay technical wise, with the program. But if you have no idea what I just said, you don't know what the difference is between a browser and a search engine, just don't apply. You won't get into the program. Okay. Secondly, is that you got to take action what you learn. I get motivated when I see people taking action and getting some real results out of the program. If I was teaching this program and no one was really getting anything out of it, I wouldn't be doing it anymore. Okay. Again, I'm about building a lifestyle, and part of my lifestyle is that I have a reputation for providing results to people that do business with me, and it's really important to me. And third thing is that you have to have a desire to create a business with integrity. Okay, I don't want you going out offering social media people and offering them promises that you can't keep and that sort of thing. It comes back and makes me look bad when you go and say that you took my course and now you're just doing a bunch of junk for people. I want you to have integrity just as I do. It's really important to me because I'm now certifying you. When I certify you, after you've achieved the 5 clients or $2,500, I'm recommending you all the time. Anytime you need a reference, you got me. The other thing to it as well is I'm going to be now offering a new campaign to small businesses where they can actually hire one of our social media directors to manage social media for them. So that's a campaign that I'm going to be launching in the start of November. And I'm actually going to be hiring all the social media directors that have graduated through the program. I'm going to manage the overall strategy, and then you're going to be able to go out and actually implement finding the content and all that kind of stuff, and you get to actually work with me on it. But only people who have graduated the program will be able to do that. I'm going to price my packages just the way that I showed you for 300, 500, and 1,000, and you're going to get half of each one. So if someone signs up for $1,000 a month, you're going to get $500 a month for doing the implementation. I will do all the client relationship and managing the clients and that sort of thing. So, but again, you've got to be a certified social media director before I'm able to hire you to be a part of that. We've already got several. I think there's about 30 or 40 of us now, social media directors that are already part of the program. All right, so if this sounds like something that is right for you, you can go right now and apply. And what's going to happen is I'm going to phone you, or one of my coaches is going to phone you, and we're going to set up a meeting. We're going to set up about a half hour to an hour meeting and just kind of go over some of your goals and make sure you're the right fit for it. So you can go to webfriendly.ca/join. Okay, fill in the application. If you just put in one-word answers, you're not going to get a call back. Okay, I need you to put some real effort into it if you really want to be a part of this program. Again, it's webfriendly.ca/join. And thank you, everybody, for being on it. Now I'm going to go and scroll back up and take a look at some of your questions, and I'll answer any that we got here. So.